Hello, Nigeria. Hello, Africa. Yeah, this is Sound Man. Keep watching SOUQ News.
My name is Babalola from Excel LED. Keep watching SOUQ News.
My name is Shepherd Michael Adewale Onofuye. I enjoy you all to always watch SOUQ News TV.
Hi, I'm Tom Bogaballs, and please keep watching SOUQ News.
Wole Soyinka, SLG Lagos Island East, SOUQ News. Keep out watching them and keep a lookout for them. They're up and coming, and we're proudly to be affiliated with them.
You alone where they make me go crazy. This your love in the cool of my brain. You're my medicine, I need you all day. Yo, it's Blackface Nigeria and you're watching SOUQ News TV. Keep it locked on this dial, don't change it. You know what I say? Blackface Nigeria, love no bad.
Lateef Jakande. Born Lateef Kayode Jakande in the Ekbetedo area of Lagos Island, Lagos State on July 1929. He studied at the Lagos Public School at Enowa, Lagos Island, then at Bonham Memorial Methodist School, Port Harcourt, King's College, enrolled at Ilesha Grammar School, where he edited a literary paper called The Quarterly Mirror. Jakande began a career in journalism in 1949 with a daily service and joined the Nigerian Tribune in 1953. The owner, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, appointed Jakande editor-in-chief of the Tribune in 1956. Jakande established John West Publications in 1975 after leaving Tribune and began to publish the Lagos News. He served as the first president of the Newspaper Proprietors Association of Nigeria, NPAN. Jakande ran for election as Executive Governor of Lagos State in 1979 on the Unity Party of Nigeria platform. His administration was effective and open and implemented the cardinal policies of his party. He introduced housing and educational programs targeting the poor, building new neighborhood primary and secondary schools, and providing free primary and secondary education. He gave poor people's children education, and many of them are now very prominent in the society today. Jakande established the Lagos State University and constructed over 30,000 housing units. After the military takeover in 1983, Jakande was charged, prosecuted, and convicted of treason and later pardoned. He served as Minister of Works under the Sani Abacha military regime. He died in Lagos on February 11, 2021. Lateef Jakande was the first civilian governor of Lagos State. Lateef Kayode Jakande, SOUQ Enlightenment.
Dr. Zacch Adedeji, whose leadership has significantly transformed Nigeria's tax administration, is a distinguished first-class graduate in accounting from the prestigious Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, and he currently serves as the chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS.
I firmly believe in the wisdom encapsulated in the statements. Revenue growth is the lifeblood of the nation's economy, providing means to fulfill essential duties to its citizens. These words capture the core principle that will guide us as we navigate the challenging terrain ahead, ensuring that our nation thrives and fulfills its obligation to its citizens. In our pursuit of greater fiscal future, we are determined to align ourselves with President Bola Tinubu's Extreme Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform Committee. This collaboration will enable us to shape the prosperous fiscal landscape that will empower our nation's growth and development.
Born on January 8, 1978 in Ogbomoso, Oyo State, Nigeria, Dr. Adedeji is an accomplished accountant and public officer with extensive expertise in corporate taxation and public finance. His journey in public service began in 2011 when he was appointed as Commissioner for Finance in Oyo State. In that capacity, Adedeji introduced transformative financial reforms, most notably the establishment of the Treasury Single Account (TSA) to streamline government revenues and expenditures. In March 2021, President Muhammadu Buhari appointed Adedeji as Executive Secretary of the National Sugar Development Council (NSCDC). In this capacity, he founded the Nigeria Sugar Institute and spearheaded the Sugar Backward Integration Program, which sought to enhance local sugar production and reduce reliance on foreign imports. In June 2023, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu appointed Adedeji as Special Advisor on Revenue, and by September of that same year, he had ascended to the position of Executive Chairman of FIRS, Nigeria's leading tax authority responsible for the assessment, collection, and management of federal taxes.
The focus will be on these indirect taxes, so that as long as you consume, you have to pay. As long as you have interest on your investment, you have to pay. And this is echoing Mr. President's message that we are not going to tax the seed, but we are going to tax the fruit. The fruit is what we focus on. So all those things, when we have this holistic process, it will be captured, and that the vision is to have a progressive tax, that if you earn more, you pay more, and if you earn less, you will not pay.
Under his leadership, FIRS exceeded its 2023 revenue target of 11.55 trillion naira. As chairman of FIRS, Dr. Adedeji implemented a performance-based system aligning with the service's new slogan, simplifying tax, maximizing revenue.
Dr. Zacch Adedeji has done incredibly well in transforming and reforming the tax processes and procedures in Nigeria. In a little over a year being at the helms of the affairs of the tax body in Nigeria, we have seen a significant improvement in revenue generation. His policy of not crumbling business with taxation is something that also needs to be applauded. Zacch Adedeji philosophy is taxing fruits and not the seed, and taxing prosperity, not poverty. Because if you look at the fiscal landscape of Nigeria in the past 10 years, you find that businesses have struggled to live, and that has led to the exit of so many businesses from Nigeria. But with this new reform, we're saying that the businesses will profit from the reform processes, and that will mean more business for Nigeria. We will have a lot of foreign inflow in terms of foreign direct investment that will actually drive the process of economic growth for the country. And I think he has done so well, and he deserves a kudos, especially for taking the giant stride to restructure FRS for efficiency, for accountability, and for value for money.
He has also made the welfare of the staff a top priority, fostering a positive working environment that has brought smiles to the faces of FIRS employees nationwide. Supporters of the tax reform bills highlight several key benefits, harping on the need for streamlined tax processes that could reduce bureaucratic hurdles and foster an environment where businesses can thrive.
He has initiated a lot of reform which dovetail into the tax reform bills that is before the National Assembly. This initiative is to improve on the tax administration system in Nigeria with a view to improving on the collection systems that will be beneficial to every member of the Nigerian state. Zacch, as is well known, has improved on a simplifying tax reform even within the federal landowner revenue, which in no means has improved on tax administration, and he celebrated essentially for the core initiative of the tax reform.
Under Dr. Adedeji's leadership, Nigeria's tax system has gone beyond mere policy adjustments. Its focus is on fostering sustainable growth and ensuring that the benefits of tax reforms reach both businesses and citizens.
So those that are attaching the bill, one, they are doing that in view of the formula they discovered, which may not be, will not augur well for them on the VAT allocation. And then secondly, they may be having the feeling that this law was just designed to favor Lagos State in the course of its own effort to become a state that has special status. Okay? It says so that will make it to be seen as if it is a country of its own, even though it's not up to the level of country, but it is higher than all other states in the country. Probably this may be the reason why they are agitating. The one that you can see clearly is on this issue of VAT, and then they have other suspicion. So that is another worry that I have. The issue of trust. Trust, what do some experts call trust deficit. Yes, will be promoted greatly by this if corrective measures are not taken. Graduation has not been defined. But then people have to go by what is happening now. As they go against it. Since now the graduation is about contribution of state that are producing these goods and services being consumed. So they have the right to just say that, so now instead of 20%, it will now be 60%. And then you hear the government functionaries, including members of the committee, saying that no, that's not what they mean. They mean area of consumption. This 60% graduation is about consumption area, not location of the headquarters of company that produce the good or services. You should have defined that in the law.
Contributing to long-term national development, Dr. Zacch Adedeji's career is a testament of his unwavering commitment to improving Nigeria's financial systems and enhancing revenue generation, showcasing his exceptional expertise in corporate and public finance.
Wole Soyinka, born Akiwande Oluwole Babatunde Soyinka on July 13, 1934, in Abeokuta, Ogun State, southwest Nigeria, stands as one of Africa's most celebrated literary figures and a global icon of resistance against oppression. His life and works reflect an unwavering commitment to justice, culture, and the transformative power of art. Soyinka was born into a Yoruba family in colonial Nigeria, an environment that exposed him to both traditional African culture and Western education. His father, Samuel Ayodele Soyinka, was a school headmaster, while his mother, Grace Eniola Soyinka, was a devoted Anglican. This blend of indigenous and colonial influences deeply shaped Soyinka's world. Soyinka attended Government College Ibadan and later proceeded to the University College Ibadan, where he studied English and literature. Soyinka completed his education at the University of Leeds in England, earning a degree in English and later a doctorate degree. In the late 1950s, Soyinka began working as a dramaturgist at the Royal Court Theatre in London. However, his passion for storytelling and cultural preservation drew him back to Nigeria, where he founded two theatre groups known as the 1960 Masks and the Orisun Theatre Company. Soyinka's works, often a fusion of Western dramatic techniques and African themes, address universal issues of justice, freedom, and human dignity. His early play, titled A Dance of the Forest, which was introduced in 1960, written to celebrate Nigeria's independence, critically examined the nation's socio-political trajectory, setting the tone for his career as both artist and activist. Soyinka's activism became more visible during Nigeria's post-independence years. In 1967, during the Nigerian Civil War, he called for a ceasefire between federal forces and Biafran separatists. This led to his arrest by the military government, and he spent 22 months in prison, where he wrote a short drama titled The Man Died, Prison Notes, a harrowing account of his imprisonment and a profound critique of authoritarianism. Soyinka has authored more than 20 works, including plays, novels, poetry, and essays. In 1986, Soyinka became the first African to win the Nobel Prize of Literature, an achievement that brought global recognition to African literature. Soyinka remained an outspoken critic of oppressive regimes, often at great personal risk. His activism extended beyond Nigeria, addressing global issues of injustice and human rights. During periods of military rule in Nigeria, he went into exile, continuing to write and speak against tyranny. Today, Soyinka is celebrated not only as a literary giant, but also as a symbol of resilience and moral courage.
Known as the father of African literature, Chinua Achebe was born on the 16th of November 1930 in Ogidi, now Anambra State, eastern Nigeria. He was born to Isaiah Okafor Achebe, a teacher and an evangelist, and Janet Anenichi Iluegbunam, a vegetable farmer. Achebe has reshaped the global understanding of African identity through the power of storytelling. Raised during the twilight of colonial rule, Achebe's education was steeped in both Igbo tradition and the Western values of post-colonial Christianity. As a student at the University of Ibadan, he became fiercely critical of how Africa was portrayed in Western literature. Achebe believed that Western literature often painted Africa as a dark and primitive continent, but he sought to tell the African people's lens. In 1958, Achebe's groundbreaking novel Things Fall Apart shattered colonial narratives through the tragic story of Okonkwo, an Igbo warrior. Achebe illuminated the complexities of African culture and the devastating effects of European colonization. Things Fall Apart became more than just a novel. It became a symbol of African resistance against the oppressive narratives of colonialism. Achebe was not just a writer. He was a passionate advocate for African self-determination, and his political activism made him a critical voice in the post-colonial era. Even after a life marked by personal and political struggles, including a car accident that left him partially paralyzed, Achebe continued to inspire. He taught at Bard College and later Brown University, where his influence reached new generations of writers and thinkers. He was married to Christiana Chinwe Okoli, and they had 4 children. Sadly, he died in March 2013 at the age of 82. Chinua Achebe's legacy endures in his novels, his essays, and in the countless voices of African writers who follow in his footsteps. He gave us a voice, a story, and a vision of Africa that is ours to share.
Broad Street. Broad Street, situated in Lagos Island, is steeped in Nigerian history. Once the biggest financial hub of the country, it housed the headquarters of major banks, linked to CBN, the stock exchange, and the loads of lender companies. Broad Street is a historically significant street. It has played a central role in the development of Lagos and history. an important commercial and administrative center for the British colonial authorities. It was also a home to some of the city's earliest modern buildings. Broad Street was a residential area in the pre-colonial era. With the British came the Methodist Boys High School in 1878 and the Broad Street Prison in 1882, renamed Freedom Park. The General Hospital, which was a British military hospital, was built in 1893, being the first general hospital in Nigeria. The old British Secretariat building, which is now the Federal Ministry of Justice, was built in 1906. Broad Street has seen a full turn into modern commercial office blocks, complexes, skyscrapers, and markets from the outer marina through Akpombo early into the Adedeji Adele Road. Broad Street is one of the busiest streets in Nigeria on weekdays, where commercial activities take place day and night. From modern buildings to ancient structures, this street gives one a raw dose of life in Lagos. Broad Street is often referred to as Lagos Financial District. It boasts a mix of architectural styles, reflecting its long history, colonial-era buildings, Victorian and Edwardian architectural features, alongside more modern skyscrapers and structures. Broad Street remains a vital, vibrant part of the Nigerian economy. Broad Street. SOUQ Enlightenment.
The Three Wise Men. Iconic sculptures and statues adorn major metropolitan cities of the world. In Lagos, Nigeria, the statue of three men designed to depict the state's cultural heritage and to usher in visitors and tourists into the ever-accommodating center of excellence is no doubt an astounding work of art. Originally built under the administration of Colonel Raji Rasaki, designed by Bodun Shodende in 1991 and standing over 12 feet high, referred to as Agba Meta or Aro Meta, the three sculptured chiefs were placed along the Lagos-Ibadan toll gate to welcome people coming into Lagos State. The statue called the Three Wise Men by many has become a major signature for the state. Three white-capped chiefs clad in white wrappers knotted across their shoulders and with clenched right fists are shown in the artwork. The images fascinate and create impressions in the minds of visitors coming into the state, captivating the attention of visitors who look with keen interest, pondering on the messages which the posture of the engraved images signifies. The Three Wise Men has been relocated thrice from its original position at Ojodu Berger end of Lagos-Ibadan Expressway to Magodo area before its final relocation to its present site at Olowo Drive. The sculpture has suffered severe damages over the years and renovated. Bodun Shodende, through this sculpture, depicted the highest honor that can be afforded to anyone in the eco-greeting tradition. The Three Wise Men, Arometa, SOUQ Enlightenment.
Muhammad Yunus was born on the 28th of June 1940 in the village of Batwa, Chittagong, a British Indian colony which is currently known as Bangladesh. He attended Lama Bazar Primary and Secondary School in his village and passed the matriculation examination into Chittagong Collegiate School, where he ranked 16th out of 39,000 students. After his graduation in 1961, Yunus joined the Bureau of Economics as a research assistant and was later appointed lecturer of economics at the Chittagong College. During that time, he also set up a profitable packaging factory on the side. In 1965, he received a Fulbright scholarship to study in the United States, where he obtained his PhD in economics from the Vanderbilt University Graduate Program in Economic Development. Between 1969 and 1972, after his keen education, excellence of apex heights and proportions in the United States, he returned home and was appointed professor of economics at the University of Chittagong. He was eventually appointed onto the board of directors to the United Nations Foundation, where he served for 33 years. When Bangladesh suffered a famine in 1974, Yunus felt he had to do something for the very poor. In his country, he founded the Grameen Bank. His motivation was to create economic and social development for the very poor, giving long-term loans to those who wanted to start small enterprises to pay back when they can. The aim to help was to get many of them out of poverty. For this, he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 2006. Muhammad Yunus is a recipient of numerous international awards for his ideas and endeavors, including the Humanitarian Award in 1993, World Food Prize in 1994, Independence Day Award in 1987, Bangladesh's highest award, the King Hussein Humanitarian Leadership Award in 2000. He was also awarded the Volvo Environment Prize in 2003, Nikkei Asia Prize for Regional Growth in 2004, Franklin D. Roosevelt Freedom Award in 2006, as well as the Seoul Peace Prize in the same year. All humans are born entrepreneurs, he would always fondly say. His heart showed through his everyday life.
When conversations around figures, I mean money, flies around, serious-minded and business-conscious people will at every point open their eyes because business ideas and opportunities can come up even at a bar. But for us, we are bringing you business ideas to your doorstep. And today I am saying welcome to Cashcraft, where we share with you tips on making money. We dig into the ordinary things around us, things we pass by daily, never knowing they could be our next income stream. My name is Grace Komolafe, and today we are stepping into the world of charcoal. Not the one you fan under your suya or barbecue, but the one that's quietly building millionaires, fueling export earnings, and heated up markets from Lagos to places like Nairobi. In the smoky corners of rural villages, behind the crackles of burning logs, lies a black treasure, charcoal. It may not glitter, but don't be fooled. Charcoal is hot business, literally and financially. Now, before you turn off your eyes, thinking it's dirty work for tired farmers, I want you to pay a close attention, because this is business, not bush talk. Charcoal is made by carbonizing wood, burning it slowly in a low oxygen environment to remove moisture and volatile compounds, leaving behind a high carbon energy packed fuel. It's used in households, restaurants, bakeries, foundries, and exported in tons out of Africa to Europe, the Middle East, and Asia. Straight to the numbers, according to data from the International Trade Center, Nigeria exports over 400,000 tons of charcoal annually. That's millions of dollars flowing into an industry that, up until now, barely makes the headlines. Charcoal ranks among Nigeria's top 10 non-oil export commodities, and guess what? The market is growing, especially with the rise in demand for natural and organic heating fuel abroad. But how can you, yes you, tap into this business? So here are tips from top to bottom. Step 1, know your entry points. The charcoal business is wild. You can be a producer, cutting and burning the wood, a distributor, buying from villages and selling to cities, or a transporter, a retailer, or even go big as an exporter. If you want to go into production, you will need access to hardwood species like acacia, mahogany, or shea. This burn longer and cleaner. And please, don't just cut trees anyhow. Get your wood legally and where possible. Support replanting. Illegal logging is the fastest way to lose your business before it. All right, let's go to step 2. Carbonize like a pro. Charcoal is made in kilns. While many still use traditional earth kilns, modern alternatives like the Casamance kilns or Adaman retort kilns produce better yields, reduce smoke, and are friendlier to the environment. A small investment in an improved kilns can double your output and your profit. Now step 3, bag it right. Local sales, use 25 kg or 50 kg sacks. For export, your charcoal must be dry, dust-free, and neatly packaged. Now exporters deal in 20-foot or 40-foot containers, each holding up to 25 tons. So let's go to step 4. Know your market. If you're selling locally, look for suya sellers, grill restaurants, and food vendors. In urban centers like Lagos, Abuja, or Port Harcourt, and in Nigeria, charcoal sells fast, especially during festive seasons. Now exporters, on the other hand, deal with buyers in Germany, UK, Belgium, Israel, UAE, and more. You will need a registered business and export license from NEPC and reliable logistics partners. That's very important, isn't it?
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
It said it's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is SOUQ business landscape.
Hello, good morning and welcome to SBL. This is a beautiful Monday morning and we are live on SOUQ News Television. My name is Chooks, John Rogers Chooks, and this is where you should be on this table of men. Today we'll be looking at what's happening with gas. Nigeria is securing a big deal, $500 million to be precise. And we're asking ourselves major questions. How is the infrastructure going to grow? A lot has been talked about gas. Being the next major earner, we are in that decade of gas already. We'll also be looking at what's happening in the US. Canada is also in the news. Ghana is also in the news. A lot of bilateral business deals are signed. A lot of asylum seekers, rejection, acceptance. A lot of things are happening. Businesses are shifting. Economies are also shifting. America is asking more questions from NATO. Are you going to push the sanctions on Russia? Russia is still exporting to India. A whole lot will be on this table today, and we will talk. Remember, this is where you should be. So go to our social media handle, go to SOUQ News TV on all platforms, and follow. Drop your comments, and we will reply. I'm not alone on this table today. So, Your Excellencies, join me as I welcome on a beautiful Monday morning, the one, the only, Dr. Samante. Sir, you're welcome.
Chooks, good morning. Good morning, Nigerians. Great Africa. It's a pleasure to be on the set this morning.
You're welcome. Now we'll go on a very short break, very short. And once we get back, we will tell you what's happening with gas and $500 million. Don't go anywhere.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
It said it's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is SOUQ business landscape.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
It said it's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or
my key figures.
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is SOUQ business landscape.
Welcome back. Nigeria's gas sector received a major boost as the African Import Bank, Afrexim Bank, and the Midstream and Downstream Gas Infrastructure Fund signed a landmark 500 million memorandum of understanding. The agreement aims to unlock investment in critical gas infrastructure and will announce during the Inter-Africa Trade Fair in Cairo. Now, the 4-year deal plan will support midstream and downstream gas projects, including pipelines, processing plants, and distribution network. Afrexim Bank will also offer credit risk guarantees to incentivize private investment in local gas development. The project's preparatory facility and technical capacity building initiative are also part of the agreement to ensure project bankability and financial close. Yes, so let's talk. We've had a whole lot of discussion on what's happening with gas. We are present in the decade of gas, where we are looking forward to gas surpassing crude in national earnings. Now we are seeing another investment, 4-year investment, $500 million, where we want to see them in billions, but trickle make up an ocean. Are we in the right direction right now when it comes to investment in gas?
Well, whether we're in the right direction or not is, like they say, it's not just about effort, it's the outcome or results that eventually will determine what an outcome is. It's never too late to start, but I think we have missed a great lot in terms of gas. If we have done investment earlier on in that sector, probably by now would have been reaping the gain. But we don't know the future, so we are not Nostradamus, who knows tomorrow. So looking at the environment of the investment is something that is plausible, that a lot of foreign direct investment is also coming in, and this one from Afrexim Bank to support the building of gas infrastructure in our nation. I think it's a welcome development. It's something that we have to be happy about, whichever rate it is. If that whole money comes into this economy in the next 4 years, we're going to see a lot of people get off the streets. We're going to get employment going. And all of that is what it is that the state exists for the good of society. But the worry is that let it not just be an MOU.
Let it not just be an MOU.
Because there was one governor they used to call MOU governor. You know, signed so many of MOU, and then there were nothing substantial really to
came out of the MOUs.
Justify all the ceremony of the signing. And I think these are the issues that, of course, we must also have to deal with as a nation. The readiness of the investors, the challenge, regulatory environmental challenge that will allow this money to move into the space. I hope all of those has also been taken care of. Because it's one thing to sign an MOU and say we agree that we're going to spend. And by the time, of course, money is trying to come, and then you have hindrances, oppositions everywhere, and then the business is never executed. So my prayer and hope is that this transcends beyond the signing ceremony, that we can actually translate this MOU into a very realistic and realizable project that impacts the society and also position Nigeria as a gas exporter as we move close to the end of the decade.
Okay, now let's go through with your starting submission. You said it's never too late to start. Over the years, a lot of investment went into the crude and its other product. And we had gas neglected for quite too long.
It's not even to say that substantially, even in terms of crude production, we've not had substantial investment for well over 20 years. So nobody was actually putting money into that area. And that's why you find that, of course, we are not able to even meet up with OPEC quota, rather than now asking that we can drill more because investment were not coming. And the reason why investment were not coming was because the climate was not ripe for it. And there's a lot of issues that we have to deal with. That's why people talk about the ease of doing business. If the ease of doing business was right, of course, we would have had people come into that sector to invest. But like every businessman, the goal and objective is to make profit. And so when you do demands and you see that it's not adding up, putting your money in that environment becomes something that is difficult, especially in the face of also regulatory volatility. One law is made today, by next tomorrow, there's an amendment to it, and you cannot even count to know where you are in terms of the implementation of that law. So I think these are the issues that, of course, have to be taken into cognizance to see that once these agreements are signed, then the conditions that will make for the actual implementation of those MOU must also be put in place. So we don't just end up with ceremony. And those who also are supposed to do the follow-up to ensure that this money come in and the investment is done as and when due are doing their bid. But most importantly is the fact that, yes, the time you wake up is your money.
Okay. Why this particular time that we wake up, okay, before we wake up and it becomes our money, let's look at what's happening in this particular sector. End product, customer end product. LPG, CNG. All of a sudden, the local LPG, the prices are going up. For the CNG, sometime last week, government came up to say, okay, come, this is what is happening, the prices also have to go up. So there's a lot of the presidential initiative that have been telling people to move to CNG, and the prices are going up. With this investment, do you see local people coming in, and we having more local produced and explored gas, that the price can come down as we see happening with the petrol and AGO?
Yeah, but I just think it's creating the right environment, putting the right infrastructure in place, and ensuring also that the right people are driving the conversation is the fundamental here. Because what we're looking at is that for even local players to be able to play, they also have to have access to cash and the rest of it and that fund. And this is not too much in the environment where we live as of today because of the way things are. And people are also looking to see how government is able to also demonstrate some good wills and willpower to ensure that people bring in their investment. And those investments are actually creating value for the owner of the capital. But just look at all the back and forth, for example, with the Dangote refinery. And that's a lesson for a lot of people. You know, my father used to pray for us when we were very young that God will not allow you to fall so that people use you to learn their lesson. So this kind of things that you see happen in the environment, where, of course, somebody is trying to put in a lot of resources to drive the economy, and then you are seeing pushbacks here and there. And then, of course, it gives you a lot of concern. So, and I think investors are also trying to study the environment and see how stable it can be, especially with the early start of politicking against 2027. All of these are things that can actually derail progress in terms of economic investments.
Okay, in terms of economic investment. How easy will it be to sell and push this narrative of abandoning coal, charcoal, firewood, and use gas at the price at which it is right now?
Well, see, there are things that will just happen naturally. So whether we like it or not, yes, we still have some trees we are cutting down. But if I had to take my eye back to my village where I come from, how it was 30 years ago, 40 years ago, and where we are today, you'll be rest assured that it will be difficult to find coal in my village from woods. So, because all the trees the big trees are gone,
They've been burnt up.
Oh, yes, they've been burnt up. So these are the issues that we're moving toward the cause that, of course, is inevitable. And that is, there are some certain resources that may not be there for you to use at all. And if they are not there, then you have to look for a viable alternative. And that is what it is. So it's not a matter of narrative, it's just a matter of time that some of all these things will crystallize. And that you see, the government is already talking about people stopping charcoal export and the rest of it. All of all this anticipation that there are certain things that nature has not given you too much of, and therefore you have to find a way to ration the little one that you have, and that is what it is. So cooking is becoming really more modern, and I think as people also are building houses, they are becoming more modern and putting those infrastructure. And a lot of people are also being onboarded into the gas usage line. So if you go to villages now, you see people with camp gases and all of it, because it's becoming cheaper and a better alternative to firewood that are not available.
Can you stress on the part that is it really becoming cheaper?
Well, you see, when you talk about something cheap, you also have to look at the various elements that you can have to put in terms of availability, the stress of getting it out. So all of that, when you put them together, you see if you fill a gas, for example, for 12.5 kg, if you are cooking very regularly, maybe you get up to like 20 days or 15 days max. And that is a whole lot in terms of savings. You look at, it's not the cost of buying the 1 liter, it's also how long that 1 kg of gas is going to last you in terms of cooking and the rest of it. And the convenience that it also brings with it. All of this, by the time you factor it together, you see it's still cheaper.
By the time you factor this, you see it's still cheaper. Okay.
And not to even talk about the environmental impact that is going to be saved with the use of LPG. So these are all cost elements that we have to also calculate.
Okay. While we look at calculating these cost elements, we also look at being able to attract more investment into this particular sector. This decade of gas is a project that must work. We all look forward to it working, and we want to see more private initiative and more people getting into the sector, not just the federal government, because as we speak, the federal government are still the major investors in this particular project. Be it infrastructure, be it the pipelines, be it whatever you call it, federal government money, mine, yours, is getting into it. So hey, let's all get our eyes and our minds into this and see it work. Now let's see what's happening with the tax identification number. The Federal Inland Revenue Service has dismissed reports that Nigerians will need a separate tax identification number to open or maintain bank accounts starting January 2026. The agency clarified that the new framework will work seamlessly with existing national databases, including the National Identification Number and Corporate Affairs Commission records. Public concern had grown following media reports suggesting that a distinct tax identification number will be a prerequisite for banking services, raising fears of additional bureaucratic hurdles. The news sparked widespread debate over the implications for everyday banking and financial inclusion in Nigeria. Arabiri Aderunke, technical assistant on broadcast media for the agency chairman Zacch Adedeji, addressed the issue on Saturday via her official X handle. She described the report as misleading and urged the public to rely on verified sources for accurate information. It's just like telling you, get your SOUQ News app and make sure you verify every of your business information from SOUQ News. In the last 1 week, we've had a whole lot of misinformation, malinformation, disinformation out there. And this was another one that came out sometime last week. And a lot of people were told that you need to go and get a TIN. That without a TIN, your bank account won't work. How did we actually get here? And people also believed and kept spreading the same form of information. How did we get here?
Well, I think it's, how am I going to put it now? Your colleagues and friends who have not paid tax since they've been working are finding it strange to believe that tax is a reality. And so kind of not doing psychological undoing is like trying to paint the road so black and people get frightened and see how that can alter whatever thing we are doing, because a lot of Nigerians don't pay taxes, and that's why our tax to GDP is small. And if you look at our population and what it is. And so it's a lot of worry for some people. And I say, oh, now you mean I'm going to be paying tax? And a lot of people have been putting away some slush money that, of course, taxes are not paid. And they are looking at it, oh, if we go into the bank, so which means the monies will be seen, and of course, they are taxable. But in other societies where, of course, you see things are working and people do things rightly, taxation is not anything frightening. Having your tax ID is something that you have to be very happy for, because apart from the fact that you have to pay, there's a whole lot that your tax ID do for you in most developed countries in terms of relief that you get if you have done some businesses that require government to give you some relief. You need your tax ID to be able to claim your relief. Sometimes also, people also want to be able to track what we are doing, and it helps individuals also to access government services. So if you don't have a tax ID, you're not able to. And some of us who had been in Lagos for a while, we all had that environment. I remember some years ago when my son was to get into one of the model colleges in Lagos, the first thing that was required was a tax ID. And of course, you have to put your tax clearance so that if government is using public resource to train your children, then of course, you're obligated to contribute to that source. So, but I think we can take the fear and the worries out of the road, because it's a reality that we must have to embrace as of today, that tax payment is something, it's like paying tithe, as it were, in the religious circle, and people must embrace that fact. So the spreading of bad news or disinformation, as you rightly described it, is aimed at one point to see, can we continue from where we are? But like Albert Einstein says that the easiest way to define insanity is when you are doing the same thing and you expect a different outcome. There's no doubt that we need to increase our tax net so that a lot of people can be captured. And the only way to do that is when everybody is identified. I made a case 2 weeks ago when I was doing a presentation in one of the public service forums, that we cannot be talking about reform when we are not able to identify every true Nigerian and then be able to pin them down to whatever thing that they are doing. So those who are doing things that are taxable, we are able to see it clearly, because this identification scheme will capture everybody, and we know your businesses, we know where your houses are, we know where your landed properties are, because all of these things are tied into what you're doing. And by the time you want to access government services, then of course your tax identification number becomes very crucial, apart from your national identity number. So this is the way I see it. There's a lot of worry and apprehension on the part of people who feel that all of a sudden the reality is catching up with them.
Okay. This particular reality is our reality. We will pay tax. So will you. We will all get to pay tax. And if we are looking for better infrastructure, better governance and accountability, hey, let's pay. Then we'll demand accountability. Let's go straight to our next story for today. For those that are wondering, the United States have slashed its import of Nigerian goods by over 40% within a single month, raising fresh concerns over the volatility of Nigeria's trade ties with one of its key global partners. According to new data from the U.S. Census Bureau and Bureau of Economic Analysis, Nigeria export to the U.S. plunged from $639 million in June 2025 to just $379 million in July. This sharp 41% decline was mirrored by a significant drop in U.S. exports to Nigeria, which fell from $919 million in June to $584 million in July. The parallel drop on both sides signals a slowdown in bilateral trade activity with potential implications for Nigeria's foreign earnings and economic stability. Despite the overall contraction, the United States still maintained a trade surplus, with Nigeria recording a $206 million surplus in July, down from $280 million from the previous month. The trend underscores a shifting dynamic in U.S.-Nigeria trade. Okay. This is one of those particular stories that is an offshoot of the Trump era of trade wars and issues. Now, every country have their own flag and their own signature and their own stamp and their own card to how the card is being played. But from your own perspective, do you think this is going to be favorable in the long run to the U.S.? This continuous tariff.
Trumponomics, maybe that's what we are going to call it right now. He said the sweetest language he has found in the English dictionary is tariff. And he feels that there's a need to use tariff very well. Especially as a watcher of the United States of American politics. One of the things that people don't really understand is the way American politics swing between the Democrats and the Republicans. And that swing always happens, especially in terms of how do we deal with businesses in America. And that's quite very instructive. So when you see Republicans come into office, what you're going to likely see is you're going to see some tax holiday, because they feel that the business people have paid so much tax and there's a need to give them some reprieve. And when you see the Democrats come into office, you're going to see the fact that taxes are likely to go up because they're going to take more money so that they can deliver our social services to the people. So you see this swing between business and social service in America. And that alternation happens from time to time. And that's when you see a Democrat come, and then after some time you see a Republican come. And that Republican coming into office is like a tax holiday for some basic company in America. But a lot of people don't understand this dynamics, how it works. So this is the reality that you're going to find. Trump is going to see how to create tax holiday for their people and their businesses and ensure that all the businesses that are now being shipped elsewhere or exported out of America are retained. And this is what, of course, we have to expect. And by the way, I believe that, of course, international politics or international economies is also an extension of domestic economies. How well you treat your students at home matters a lot. And whatever relationship or interactions you are having with other countries outside of your shores, you're doing so because you want the life of your citizens to be better. So we cannot blame Trump for having to think about the businesses in America and see how they can also focus on things that they can produce locally, and they are not putting too much resource to import things that they may not be desperately needing from other nations. And to that extent, they're also encouraging people to bring their resources into America to invest. So global economies or geopolitics is all about competition. I was saying with a set of young people yesterday, the world I have grown up to meet is a world of selection of species where the strong will find a way to eliminate the weak so that they can continue to be very strong.
The strong finding a way to eliminate the weak. Okay, now, we are not the weak. Let's now look for solutions. If we are exporting lower aside oil, if we're exporting lower to the United States, should we not be looking for other means of getting out goods, non-oil exports out there, and taking our focus away from where we are exporting less right now?
Yeah, but if you actually look at it in terms of Nigerian export market, you're going to see that America is actually in a distant fourth. If you have to look at the first 5 economies in which Nigeria are doing their trade with. So
non-oil exports.
So America is a distant fourth. So the issue is really not about America, because Nigeria also exploring other markets and see what we can sell in terms of things, value addition. But unfortunately, again, it's the fact that most of the things that we have to sell to other people are things that are in their raw state, natural state, without single value addition in most cases. So these are the things that we have to also deal with at home. I believe markets generally does not discriminate on the basis of color or ethnicity. Market only discriminate on the basis of value. And so if nations are able to create values that other people will need, definitely you cannot close that market. So nations will find a way to negotiate those markets. You just imagine it like this, that I am a yam farmer, you are a yam farmer. Why do I need to sell yam to you if you have optimized your production? It doesn't make sense. But if I decide to say, okay, I want to do value addition, such technology that you don't have, and then, of course, I may be having market with you. And it doesn't really matter whether I'm black or colored or yellow or brown. What matters is that what I'm producing, is it having any value to you? So markets generally don't discriminate. And I think that's what a lot of people must understand, that the real way to be able to compete in global market is to be able to create value that other people don't have, and then they have a need for it. And as they crave for those values, then you make some money out of it. But if you are in a general pool and you are not creating so much value, and all that you have, any other person can have it, then of course, definitely you're going to lose some trade.
Definitely you are losing some trade. Okay, now, talking about value, let's get this next story of ours. Today is going to be a very short period dedicated to each of the stories because our time is way running too fast. Now, Doc spoke about value. Let's talk about aero contractors. Now, aero contractors have refunded over 257.1 million naira to passengers between January and August 2025, marking a 137% increase compared to refunds issued in 2024. The surge in refund comes as part of growing efforts to comply with the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority's reinforced consumer protection guidelines. Data released by NCAA via its official X account on Saturday showed the airline processed 257,195,724 naira 39 kobo in refunds within 8 months. Okay, dear Doc, let's look beyond this refund. If this amount of refund is happening, is it also telling us that there is something that has to do with services that the airline is not offering well?
Well, I think I made that point clear last week. If we look at the airline industry in Nigeria, that I said beyond regulation is also to see that the regulators must also be thinking about how businesses will survive, don't really driving hard on punitive measures to control and regulate the industry. And I think that fact had to be taken. I usually use my spare case when I started a small business somewhere in Benin. And of course, the council people were coming and driving. Every morning I see them. Every evening I see them. And
were they driving past or they were driving in?
They were coming to always ask for money. And now the business is not there. I'm wondering, how many times do they visit that site? You see, because there's something that happen when everybody mutually benefit from each other. So the sole goal of government is not just to eat businesses and then they go under, and then we are not able to get substance out of it. We're looking at aero contractor. I don't know how many aircraft that they have on the tarmac as we speak. There are ARIC that used to be there. We don't know where they are right now. So which means fundamentally the regulatory environment is hostile to the airline business. It's not profitable. How do NCAA, FAN, and another stakeholder in that sector actually help to make those businesses to thrive? Because beyond actually also paying tax to government is that when this business survives, you're seeing that if you have Aero having 100 airlines that are local and international, you can imagine the number of Nigerians that will be on those flights and how many employment that will generate and what tax income that are indirect to the government from payee and other associated costs. So I think government must think broadly in terms of how to support industries to first grow first. I like the way that Mr. President has put his tax drive that we should not be taxing seed, we should be taxing fruits. And I think that is quite important and instructive that we're looking at. When we regulate environment, we see that what are they responsible for these disruptions and why do we need to be doing all of this reform and a lot that is involved. But again, it's also fine that you are seeing that people enter into a valid contract and they see that if contract fails, and then of course they can also find compensation, it makes the business environment also look nice and good. But fundamentally for me is the fact that the airline industry needs some help, and government must sit down to comprehensively evaluate that industry and see how we can increase participation and even stabilize those who are already on the routes so that they make profit and then, of course, create jobs and also already the will of the Nigerian economy.
Okay. While the aviation industry will get the help they deserve, Festus Keyamo is always going to listen. If you don't, we'll bring this news to your table. We'll go on a very short break, and when we return, we'll be right in your face. Don't go anywhere.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Yunus said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, you know, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep it for their staff? Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is SOUQ business landscape.
The rise and fall of Nigeria Airways is a story steeped in mismanagement and missed opportunities. Established in 1958, Nigeria Airways, the national carrier, initially soared as a symbol of national pride. However, a series of missteps led to its unfortunate demise. In 2008, financial mismanagement became its Achilles heel. The airline became bloated with an oversized workforce, hemorrhaging money on profitable routes while neglecting crucial safety maintenance. These issues stemmed from a lack of transparency and accountability. The government, as the majority owner, failed to implement proper checks and balances, allowing mismanagement to foster. Weak regulatory oversight likely played a part as well, with instances of impounded aircraft due to unpaid debts and safety concerns raised by international bodies. Ultimately, the crippling debt burden proved unsurmountable, forcing Nigeria Airways to cease operations, leaving a void and a valuable lesson for the future. This lack of transparency and accountability isn't unique to state-owned airlines. Several privately owned airlines have also suffered the same fate. Effective corporate governance, including robust financial management and adherence to safety regulations, is essential for any airline to succeed. The broader lesson here is the critical role of corporate governance in the aviation industry. Effective management, robust financial strategies, supportive economic policies, and modern infrastructure are crucial for the growth and success of airlines. Addressing these challenges requires a concerted effort from both the government and the private sector to foster a conducive environment for aviation to thrive. Corporate governance is a multifaceted discipline that encompasses a wide range of processes, customs, policies, laws, and institutions that influence how a corporation is directed, administered, and controlled. The primary goal of corporate governance is to enhance economic efficiency with a strong focus on maximizing shareholders' welfare. Effective corporate governance has been linked to improved organizational performance, a fact supported by numerous studies. For airlines, factors such as board compositions, management practices, and regulating compliance significantly impact performance and operational efficiency and customer satisfaction are paramount. Robust corporate governance ensures that airlines operate transparently, ethically, and in alignment with both regulatory standards and stakeholder expectations. This is crucial for maintaining public trust, ensuring operational sustainability, and achieving long-term profitability. Across the Atlantic, one airline consistently ranks among the world's most profitable, Delta Airlines. What propels this country to such heights? The answer lies in its unwavering commitment to strong corporate governance. Delta's governance structure is robust, featuring a strong independent board of directors. This board comprises individuals with diverse backgrounds, skills, and experiences, ensuring a wide range of perspectives in decision-making processes. As of December 31, 2023, the board includes 10 independent directors and 2 non-independent members, one being the chief executive officer and the other a nominee from the Airline Pilots Association. Diversity extends to gender, race, and ethnicity, with 1 out of 12 directors representing historically underrepresented groups. Key committees including audit, corporate governance, personnel and compensation, safety and security, and finance play critical roles in overseeing various aspects of operations and governance. By bridging the gap between Delta's global success and the realities of the Nigerian aviation industry, a thriving future can be achieved. For regulators, strengthening regulations in Nigeria's aviation industry involves implementing stricter enforceable measures to discourage irresponsible practices while protecting consumers, employees, and investors. This includes a thorough review of ownership structures by setting up minimum competency standards for owners, exploring diversified ownership models, and enforcing stringent disclosure requirements. Regular independent audits should be conducted, extending beyond mere compliance to identify areas for improvement in operational safety and sustainability practices, thereby fostering a more robust and reliable aviation sector. Bayo Olaoye, SOUQ News.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Interest said is going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff? Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is SOUQ business landscape.
Welcome back. This is SOUQ business landscape. Remember